Tonight, crazy Joe Biden trying to act tough, although Trump points out he is weak both mentally and physically. Hi, I'm Craig and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off every episode by thanking each and every one of my subscribers. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Without you guys, this channel would be nothing, so thank you. If you haven't yet, come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as this information gets made available, you will be notified, because as soon as stuff's made available to me, I make it available to you. Tonight, we're still quiet on the Q board. There's not much going on there, although I think we got to the bottom of a lot of these posts, basically going through what they mean and how they're being used. It's very funny to me. I don't know, funny, it's the wrong word to use, but it's interesting to me that as soon as Q posted that the FBI was opening a case on Q regarding the boom statements and the Texas bombings, this guy blew up in a car. Now, a lot of people want me to go back and look over the crime scene photos and look at the car and examine, well, how did the explosion happen without blowing out the windshield? Why were there so many bullet holes into the car? Was it a shootout? Was it an explosion? People are saying they never heard explosions. All of that I'm going to let simmer. Okay, guys, I'll get to that later. But right now, we got to let the investigation take its course. And the time to ask questions is always now, but sometimes you have to let the facts come to the surface. And it's like making a big soup. You got to kind of let it simmer, and then you'll get really to the bottom of it. But for now, I kind of just wanted to point that out to everybody who has been following the channel. And this whole episode is going to be about a few different things. We're going to talk about the Chinese tariffs that have come up. We're going to review a interview with Trump by Charlie Kirk at the White House, which was really great. And we're going to get into some other things, talking about where is Obama. He's traveling the globe just like Hillary. They seem to be out of the country right now because they are in panic mode. Yeah. So you guys do with that as you may. And also we're going to talk about just a lot of the news going on in general. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about here, if this article will load, which my equipment's been running a little slow lately, so obviously I'm going to have to wait for this to pop up. It's really impressive. Hold on one second. So yeah, my equipment is really great, but obviously some things just need to be censored by the powers that be, so that's fine. I got the article anyway. Here we go. China is urging us to pull back from the brink, as quote unquote, as Trump unveils tariffs. And this whole article is kind of a fluff piece talking about how the Chinese state ministry came out and their state-run media and their ambassadors all said, look, this is going to start a trade war. They need to step back. They're giving all the rhetoric that you would expect China to give. Now, I'm very well versed in the China issue. I've actually taken that as a point to study in depth for the last 3 or 4 years at least, if not longer. And let me tell you this. Okay, the way we are positioned with China has been the most lopsided trade and economic deals you could ever imagine in your life, where we're talking about charging 2% tariffs on things coming into our country while being charged 25% tariffs on things coming out of our country, not to mention the intellectual property theft that China executes on a regular basis and is actually known for. I think it's incredibly awesome that we are in a position now to throw the ball back in their court and say, look, the selling out of America is over. Your infiltration of our government, your infiltration of our academia, your infiltration of our political systems and economic systems is over. China, bye. And this is big league, to quote Trump. Now, here we have so much information just in this one little story here. I'm not going to harp too much on it, but I like to talk about these kind of things because it's good to get the my viewers, everybody involved in the channel, you guys who we have our own QAnon research board, down at the comments of each one of these episodes. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you think about China, what you think about the trade war, what you think about Trump's move to put in higher or equal tariffs, really. What he's saying is we're going to increase our tariff on China because it's only fair. You can't have goods and products coming into our country where we only tax them at 2%, where when Americans want to produce things and send them to China, we get charged 25%. The first step in this has been a plan for Trump to increase the tariffs by $60 billion or so on China. The hope in the long-term vision here is to actually get to a point where we have an equal platform for trading with China, and it's not completely lopsided in their favor and selling out our country. I mean, one could argue that the last, let's see, it would be 8, 16, 24 or so years of administrations in the executive branch and the legislative branch and, to a degree, the judicial branch have basically put us in a position to have rebuilt China. Now let that sink in. Now it's good to help countries develop, but at what cost to our own country? A drain of wealth, a drain of resources and time, and not to mention the fact that in the time that we have been providing China with this great service to their economy and their country as a whole, making them into the second largest economy in the world, we lost a large amount of money and a large amount of resources and a large amount of property, and the Chinese have been in a war with us economically for quite some time. And as Trump points out, it's like they were surprised. They're like, oh, well, we got great deals and you guys are weak. Because the one thing you can't be in this world is weak. And I stress that because these people are weak and they'll do anything for money. It's really hard to stand up against the grain. Like, we all have our own things that we go through in our life. And I think that ultimately, this is kind of similar in the macro scale, that we all go through these, but then on a broad scale, our country's going through it, right? Our country is going through this period of mass corruption at the highest levels of government. And we're finally trying to claw our way out of it. And now they've thrown up every roadblock they can think of to saving this great country, the United States of America. So I'm going to not harp on this too much more. If you guys want to do more research, just pop in to the search engine, whatever you want about Trump and trade and tariffs, and you'll probably get articles about this with China. A great resource I'll recommend, free plug for them because I actually really like their content, is go check out China Uncensored. They're an amazing platform that really makes great content when it comes to satirically reporting news out of China that has to do with the U.S. and the world globally. And you guys will be really informed, and I think you'll be really pleased to see how great their content really is. Now, and you can find them on YouTube. It's China Uncensored. You can just plug that in and you'll find it. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is I'm not one of those people who enjoys being right, because this was kind of a really easy call. I think a lot of people knew this was coming, and well before it ever happened. I even made a video, as you'll see here, where I actually used the thumbnail of QAnon talking about how we had full control and that McMaster was going to get fired. And that was basically the gist of what the posts were saying, and what the at the time when Tillerson was out, and then we had this report from CNBC about McMaster being out and fired while I was making this video, so I thought it was really important to get that information out there. Then they pulled that back and tried to reel it back in. But I told you guys before, I'm going to keep the thumbnail because I'm very confident that McMaster was on his way out. Kind of an easy call, but I'm going to go ahead and stand by that and use that to show you guys that I knew this was coming to a degree, and a lot of other people did as well. But if you look at it, it says effective 4/9/18, John Bolton will be the new national security advisor. And John Bolton, in my opinion, I think he is kind of flaky. I'm not 100% about him, but I love Trump's tactics, okay? For those of you who don't know, Trump has a few very incredibly successful tactics for drawing in the traitors, and I'll explain those in a minute. So look at this right here. We have Reince Priebus parting ways with the White House. Then you look at like Bannon getting kicked out. Then you look at like Tillerson getting kicked out, and Cohen getting kicked out. This is Trump's tactic. You guys have to understand the whole tactic behind this. The genius behind the crazy chaos is really in the fact that he brings these people in, and then he gives them a chance to incriminate themselves. You have to trust me when I say that people are looking at this, all of this information in its entirety, and they're actually able to make these fact patterns through investigatory work, and surveillance and monitoring, this is all publicly cataloged records. These are not private things. When you become the Secretary of State, or when you become the National Security Advisor, when you become whatever position in the White House, the Chief of Staff, you have to understand that even if what you do is classified, confidential, top secret, whatever, it will be in some way or form put into the public record. And if it's not done publicly, and if there are secret intels, then you have to understand that intelligence is actually monitored by deep state intelligence. And when I say deep state intelligence, I'm not talking about the bad deep state that we're fighting with Trump and his presidency, but I'm talking about the officials who act as white hats and good actors and want to protect us and work for our general good. The people at the CIA, at the FBI, at other three-letter agencies that want to protect Americans and are actively working for us, not against us. Now, you may say, oh, well, they're all bad. No. They're not all bad. So I'm going to go ahead and say we have to watch them. We have to trust but verify. And there's a certain social contract that they have with us that would it would have this expectation that they are working for our safety and working for our general betterment. But this is all part of Trump's strategy, and I'm just going to focus on that. So bring in a guy like John Bolton. What this does is it actually gives him another avenue that he needs to investigate. He needs to see where this person's loyalties lie. He needs to understand what they actually are doing. He needs to examine if they are a good actor or a bad actor or something in between. And I think that's a part of the genius of the Trump strategy that we see or have seen so far. Now, that's really incredible. Now we're going to go through something that I think is very interesting. We're going to talk about censorship. We're going to talk about Trump even saying that he wouldn't run for president. That was an interesting comment, but it was in regard to him talking about the fake news, because Trump's kind of a guy who's got a big ego and he's really obsessed with his own image, as you can see him slapping his name across buildings across the globe. And I'm not knocking Trump, but I'm just saying that this is the way the man's mind works. And if you understood Trump, you would understand that he has an affinity for self, which is not the best thing in the world, given the way that we live our lives is a lot of obsession about ourselves and not about God. But the older you get, I like to believe there's always chance for redemption. You always, the next day you can redeem yourself. And Trump's one of those kind of people who, we've all had problems. No one listening to this video is perfect. I can guarantee you that. And just because Trump's had a few issues, I get a lot of comments of people pointing out things, flaws of character and stuff like that. And it's just, it's water under the bridge, in my opinion. If you make a mistake and you actually ask for forgiveness, now there are some mistakes that you can make that can have really big consequences that aren't really quite often the most redeemable, in the sense that you've made a big wrong. But the way I've learned and the way I've been taught and the way I like to preach forward is that no matter what you do, you can reach out to God and He is there for you always. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the Hillary deplorable comments she made in India, and Jerry Brown with the building of the border wall, and how San Diego is just they're begging for the wall, but Trump's actually not going to give it to them. Then later in the episode, we're going to get into the Biden tweet from Trump, and we're going to get into another episode or another segment in this episode called "Where in the World Are the Officials Who Used to Run This Country?" Because they're not in the United States, and they are all running away, fleeing, which I just think's incredible if you guys look at that. So stick with me. We're going to get into this. But first, we're going to go here to Charlie Kirk interviewing President Donald Trump. And the first thing we're going to get to is the censorship that Trump talks about.
Represent an organization on 1,200 college and high school campuses. It's harder than ever to espouse support of your presidency and the ideas that you're fighting for. So thank you for what you're doing to help give us the courage of our convictions to fight against political correctness. But what advice do you have for young patriots and conservatives on campus that support your agenda that are being ridiculed and silenced because of administrators that are clamping down on free speech?
So, Charlie, it's a great question. I think the numbers are actually much different than people think. I think we have a lot of support. If they have one campus or two campuses, and we know what they are, it gets all the publicity. We have campuses where you have a vast majority of people that are perhaps like many of the people in this room. You could call it conservative, you call it whatever you want, but they're people that want free speech. If you look at what's going on with free speech, with the super left, with Antifa, with all of these characters, I'll tell you what, they get a lot of publicity. But you go to the real campuses and you go all over the country. You go out to the Middle West. You go out even to the coast in many cases. We have a tremendous support. I would say we have majority support. I think it's highly overblown. Highly overblown.
I totally agree, and we see it on the ground. And so people will say, hey, I'm a Trump supporter. I'm just not allowed to say it because of the culture that's been created by the administrators and the professors. And kind of piggybacking off of that, what you see on college campuses and the speakers being disinvited and, the assault on these ideas, I think it's so important what your administration is doing for the Department of Justice to support these lawsuits to help advance, this free speech movement on campus. So
there you go. I mean, you have that clip there that kind of explains Trump's stance on the censorship. I think he's very aware of what's going on. I think that everything takes time, but the antitrust violations that are going on are rampant. YouTube, Google, the same entity, Facebook, Twitter, they're all just basically monopolies. They own such a huge market share and they dominate any other platform pretty much outright. That we all have to be very wary of what's going on with them. And Trump's very aware, and he's actually putting forth a lot of legislation and a lot of things through the Department of Justice that are going to actually end up having a huge effect on us as a whole. Now, the next clip I want to talk about is really interesting. It's Trump. First of all, this guy, Charlie Kirk, he's a really pretty good guy here giving his take on it, but he actually asked him this question that I thought was really incredible, and Trump gives a really incredible response. I think it's candid and honest. I think, sometimes we all bite off a little more than we can chew, but when you're put in a situation where you can either put up or shut up, you have to put up. That's just the way it is. So let's go ahead and watch that clip right now.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president.
But we're glad you did.
You know, I was talking to Mercedes and Sarah walking off, or just to, the Oval Office is right across the street. And I said, all my life I've gotten really, look, we all get every once in a while a knock, but I got the greatest publicity. I was getting such great until I ran for office. And but it's been, people get it. People really do get it. There is a lot of fake news out there. Nobody had any idea. And, I'm actually proud of the fact that I exposed it to a large extent, because we exposed it. It's an achievement. And you have some great news. And, when I say fake, I don't mean everybody, not every one of those many people back there. I just say we have shown something that a lot of people didn't really understand. If you look at approval rating, their approval rating is, sorry, folks, it's down the tubes, because people have found out how dishonest it is. However, you have some great reporters. You have some great people in the press, people that I have tremendous respect for. And it is that way also, and that's very important. And it's also reassuring to know that, that's the fact.
So now that was very fascinating. He kind of goes into the fake news thing, and he's proud of himself for exposing it. But I think ultimately we all have to get in these positions where we're uncomfortable, where things are hard. That's what really creates our character and what separates us from everyone else. So just more power and prayers to the president. Let's go ahead and keep him in our prayers, and make sure that we continue to support him. I mean, a lot of this is the base just falling off. That's why you see these midterm elections just basically, in my opinion, stolen, because nobody's really charged anymore. You get what you need, and then, or you get what you want, and then you become complacent. And that's definitely what we should never try to be. The next clip I'm going to play is really interesting. It's where he's commenting on what Hillary said in India, talking about women and their husbands and how they told them who to vote for, which I think is hilarious, because I'm just saying, I'm a family man, and yeah, you can't tell women what to do. You just like women can't tell men what to do. We're all very independent. I mean, you can make suggestions, but it's not, and it's a private voting booth. It's just unfathomable to me the way in which Hillary tries to blame everyone but herself for her loss, and her criminality, for her illegal dealings. So go ahead and watch this clip. And yeah, this next clip is going to kind of go into what Trump thinks about how Hillary came out and she said all these comments in India, but then he's kind of referring back to what she said during the campaign about the basket of deplorables who were irredeemable. So go ahead and watch this, and you'll enjoy, I'm sure.
Nobody thought it would be like this. It works. So the word crumbs is going to be like the word deplorable, I think, for Hillary.
Totally agree. And,
hey, Charlie, when she said the word, I was watching that speech, and I thought it was, not very nice, but I didn't see it that bad. And the next day I'm at a speech, and women are coming in, I'm a deplorable, the husband, I'm a deplorable. And I say, what's going on? That word really, and that's right. She actually said deplorable and irredeemable. Irredeemable's probably worse.
She was reading off a teleprompter.
Well, the one she did last week wasn't too good either, that the woman goes and asks the husband, the son, and the male boss for approval to vote for Trump. That was not too good.
Yeah, exactly. And this stuck in my craw, I mean, just really bad, because I can tell you right now that I know some of the most, in my opinion, the most powerful and awesome women that you would ever want to meet in your life. Successful, smart, talented, you name it. And it's just like Hillary just sells these women down. Oh, women are weak and they just follow men's lead. Well, I don't think women are weak, and women do follow men's lead in certain extent, just as men follow women lead in certain extents. It's just another way the media is trying to divide us along racial lines, along sex lines, along whatever lines they can draw to get us separated, because that's how you conquer. You divide first, and that's their whole agenda, which kind of really helps us walk into the next clip here, where we're going to talk about Trump securing funding for the wall and his comments about Jerry Brown, who, in my opinion, is just the worst kind of person you would ever want to imagine have running your state. Thank God I don't live in California. Truly, thank God I don't. But you look at what's happening, and for all of my people watching here who are from California, I really, truly pray for you all to be able to get out from under this crazy regime that you're in now, where you have mayors subverting federal law, you have governor openly challenging the president. It's incredible times we live in. So let's just go ahead and watch this clip where Trump kind of goes through.
You have to include in that the drug crisis period. Drugs are coming across the southern border and coming all over. That's why we will have the wall. We have $1.6 billion toward the wall and fixing up bad walls that are already up, and building them new and rebuilding them, and a lot of work being done. Certain communities, believe it or not, like in San Diego, they want a wall. Nobody likes to talk about that. In fact, I said, don't build the wall there. They're all wanting it. And Jerry Brown, who's doing a terrible job as governor, but no, if you like high taxes and lots of and crime, that's your guy. But they go and they talk so much about the wall. But in San Diego, as you know, there's a long stretch that is demanding the wall. So I said, okay, they were ready to start. I said, don't build it. We'll wait till we get everything approved, because they're having a lot of pressure. They want the wall. Look, we have to stop the drugs from coming in. So
there you go. I mean, that's Trump kind of laying it out. If you like poverty and crime, go ahead and re-vote for Jerry Brown. If you live in California, San Diego, begging for the wall for the most part, because the liberal center that controls everything, like the liberal colleges and all that, they don't represent the real population of San Diego. I've actually spent a lot of time in San Diego, and I love it there. I think it's a beautiful part of the country. It's a shame that it's been destroyed by these liberals, and I really pray for them to kind of revamp it. But I love that Trump says, look, it's not personal against San Diego, but we're not going to build your wall in that one little section so that you guys can feel safe, and then the rest of the border is left unsecure. So the quicker people realize that, I think, the better we will be at actually understanding where we're at in these times. Now, getting into one of the big things I wanted to cover here tonight, it's Donald Trump's tweet. And what did he tweet about, you ask? Well, we'll check it out right here. So let's read through Trump's tweet, which I thought was amazing when I saw it. It says, crazy Joe Biden is trying to act like a tough guy. Actually, he is weak, both mentally and physically, and yet he threatens me for the second time with physical assault. He doesn't know me, but he would go down fast and hard, crying all the way. Don't threaten people, Joe. Truer words have never been spoken, in my opinion. This is going to be coming up on twice now that Joe Biden has threatened physical assault against the President of the United States of America. Now, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the vice president. Nobody elected you, Joe. Okay? They unfortunately elected Obama, and you came with the package. And then let's not go into Joe Biden and his creepy actions with kids in public and women in general and men. The guy's weird, okay? So, and he wants to run for president. Oh my gosh. God, please let Joe Biden run for president, because it would be like handing us another victory. If I see the ticket in 2020 and it's Biden versus Trump, I will be the happiest man on earth, because there is no way there is no way that Joe would win. I mean, it's just, I don't see how you could take the visual evidence you have of his sick, perverted touching of children and then go and elect a man like that. And this is all opinion, but I mean, does anybody else agree with me here? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments because, yeah, I've seen those videos. They're creepy and they're weird, and he is creepy and he is probably crazy because allegedly I heard stories that he purportedly swims naked in front of his female Secret Service details every morning. This is how he gets off. This is how they all do it. I'm not generalizing, but let's just say there's a subsect of people who run things, who have a lot of power, who do things exactly like what Joe Biden does. And he thinks he has the boldness to do it in public. If I was the parent of any of those children pictured in those incredibly disturbing graphics and film or videos I've seen of him posing for pictures and then touching children and doing all types of weird stuff, I don't even know what I would do. I don't even want to presume what I would do. I would flip out. Okay? I would be very upset. And this man thinks he can take Donald Trump in a fight? You know, I'm not a violent person. I'm a man of God, and I put God first, so I'm not going to make any assertion of threat. But I will tell you this, that Joe Biden wouldn't stand a chance against Trump, and he wouldn't stand a chance against most of us out here in the audience. Mark my words on that. And he thinks he's a big, bad dude because he has all this power and he was the vice president. Well, you were the second. You were like, basically, if you're not, and I hate to quote a movie, but it's kind of a true statement. If you're not first, you're last. It's kind of a stupid movie that I don't recommend anybody watch. I'm not going to mention what it is. I'm sure a lot of you will know what it is. It's a comedy, but that's kind of true in this situation, right? Biden was the last because he was not first. And, you know, we got him by proxy, by association, by no real choice other than he was on the ticket with Obama. And a lot of people voted for Obama. So that's where I'm lying with this. Because it makes me really, really upset. Now let's look at a clip of where Biden, the first time he threatens physical violence against Trump. I think you guys will really enjoy what this is. And of course, my setup here is really acting very slow today. I think when you report the truth, things just slow down a couple extra seconds.
But it's more than that. He said, because I'm famous, because I'm a star, because I'm a billionaire, I can do things other people can't. What a disgusting assertion for anyone to make. The press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
So what does take him behind the gym mean? Is my real question. And it's basically it's an insinuation of violence against somebody with physical assault.
Not wanted to get into
right. Obviously, as my computer continues to just not respond to anything I'm doing here, which is quite frustrating, but I'm going to persevere. That's what he's doing. This guy is a sick freak, in my opinion, who would say that kind of stuff about the President of the United States, right?
Is a text definition of sexual assault.
Yeah, I apologize for the way that this video is getting just destroyed with the lag in my computer here, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff they try to pull when you're over the target, as I've been told in the comments. That's when you get the flack. And this is the flack. And they can try all they want. They can slow stuff down. They can speed it up. They can make it lag. They can make my voice lag through these. I don't care. You know what? Do it. Bring it. You know, I called out a certain Mr. O'Brennan on Twitter. And see, I can't even go to a tab here without it coming up white. Yeah, so here is Creepy Joe Biden. This is my response here. You guys can come check out my Twitter page if you want. It's at Justin_formed. And this is Creepy Joe Biden. This is him in a nutshell. And I posted this in the comment board to what Trump posted about Crazy Joe Biden. And my computer is freezing all the way through this, so I apologize. It's really, really starting to get quite noticeable. So, yeah. That's okay. When you report the truth, this kind of stuff is going to happen to you. Now, here's an article I thought was very poignant, talking about a certain somebody who we know is not in the country. Where is Obama? Well, he's in Australia. He's decided to go to New Zealand and Australia. Hypothetically, in my opinion, possibly working on his doomsday shelter that he can go retreat to when the crimes against him are made public, or the indictments, I should say, that allegedly exist. Now you look at, like, in France, where a former president, Nicolas Sarkozy, has been arrested, okay, and charged with crimes, namely taking about 50 million euros, as I know, from Muammar Gaddafi. We all remember him, the woman who Hillary was so proud that we came, we saw, we killed him. You know, or we came, we saw, he died. Something to that effect. So, yeah, I hope you guys are still with me. I'm sorry for the lag. I hope we're getting through this at a good pace. But, yeah. So now, going into something that's much more important, you know, Hillary's in India, Obama's in New Zealand and Australia. They're all running away. I might as well click this because it's going to take 10 minutes to pull up. Oh, wait, that one pulls up. Great. Okay, so you guys want to watch this. I'm going to finish the episode up here with this particular video. And this is a great video. So there's a reporter on InfoWars who I think's a pretty up-and-coming good guy that we should all kind of give a shout-out to. His name's Owen Schroyer, and he's working over at InfoWars, and he actually experienced something where he went to a demonstration. So it was a protest, or actually it was like a vigil for Kate Steinle, who was murdered, and he was confronted by armed, masked men representing Antifa who were denying him access to a public location. And if that's not the textbook definition of racketeering and just all types of different crimes, brandishing a weapon, you name it, I don't know what is. And this right here is a great, well thought out, succinct input that we should all take a minute to watch here.
All right, well, I'm going to start by asking the council a question. Given everything that's happened, the march with the bombings and the police officers saying, if you see anything suspicious, say something, I think we would all agree that masked men walking around with firearms is something suspicious. Now, I'm going to play this video for the council to review that illustrates that exact thing happening. Now, I am a firm believer in the First Amendment right, so an individual has the right to walk around with their face covered. I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment right. I believe in constitutional carry, so you can carry a rifle or whatever firearm you want with you. However, according to U.S. Code Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, subsection 241, conspiracy against rights states, if two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, or district in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured by him by the Constitution or laws of the United States, or because of his having so exercise them the same, or two or more persons go in disguise or on the premises of another with intent to prevent or hinder his free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege so secured, they shall be fined under this title or in prison not more than 10 years. Well, on December 10th, the video you're witnessing right now, I went to a memorial march for a deceased victim of a violent crime. And I was met, as you can see in these pictures, by masked men.
Okay. So we're having a little bit of a lag here, and it's just, it is, you gotta take a breath because it's really frustrating. And it's not my system. My system should be working just
Arms
fine.
on their triggers of right.
It's obviously some outside force that I'm not going to get into. But when you get a loud voice and you have a platform in which you can reach people, things tend to happen like this. So I'm going to let this kind of load here for a second, and we're going to keep playing.
Rifles, battering clubs, etc. Here you can see this man has his finger on the trigger, keeping me from going to a park, a memorial. Here's them with shields and clubs blocking me entrance from a park.
All right, we're going to pause that. We're going to come right back to it.
For a dead person's memorial. Now, if that doesn't violate the code, I don't know what does. And I find it timely that we sit here today with you all discussing getting more funding for police, but I did not hear one person make a suggestion to keep violent criminals off the streets. Well, maybe if we looked into sanctuary city laws and keeping masked men with...
I'm just going to pause this, and I got to vent here for a second. Okay, this is a part of their tactic. Okay, they disrupt the feed. Okay, they stall it, they spin it out, and it's literally, I'm not being conspiratorial. This is not some crazy thought here. But imagine if you're in the middle of trying to make a film, and all you can do is be interrupted constantly. It's all a part of a tactic, okay? And you guys are seeing it here live, because this is recording is going to go up as is. I'm not going to go back and redo it. So whoever's doing this or whatever is doing this, keep it up. You know, you're just showing, or they're just showing what they are. So I'm gonna before I sound too crazy, keep going.
With guns off the streets, we wouldn't have to have 100 police officers out there every time somebody wants to have a march, which is every weekend. Now, I'll just say this in closing and provide an illustration for you. If I was outside holding a rifle, keeping people from getting into this city council to state their claim, do you think I should be arrested? I think everybody here would agree, yes, that should be an arrest, absolutely. But for some reason, and I'm not blaming the APD because I think they're good men and women. Most of my experiences with them have been positive. But if we're not going to arrest armed individuals with masks, brandishing weapons, intimidating people from their free speech, a clear violation of the law, I just want to know why, and I want to know if this city council thinks that that's the type of city that we should live in. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, so I mean, there you go. That's kind of what that is. Again, you know, that's kind of the roundup to the episode. So obviously, I really want your support, and I'm so thankful to each and every one of you who've come to this channel and subscribed. So thank you again. If you haven't, the easiest way you can support the channel is to come here and click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you will be informed. I'm sorry the video took a lot longer than I expected tonight, but obviously, if you're watching and you've gotten this far, you know the problems that we went through here tonight, and it's not anything new. It's just something that, if they want to put it out there, then that's fine. Good, God bless, right? Okay, so that's the easiest way you can support. Coming here, clicking the subscribe button, that's like throwing me a buck. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You can join the Just Informed Talk squad here. And that's definitely the best way. But another great way that I really love, and it's kind of what I enjoy doing on a daily basis, is going through and reading the comments. So if you guys go down and read through the comments, I want to hear what you have to think. If you have a thought, if you have a theory, if you have a point that you want to make where you thought I was wrong or I was right, or you want to share a Bible verse or whatever it is, please go down and do it. And if you don't do that, at least go read through them. We have basically what I like to say is a QAnon research board at the comment thread of each one of these videos. Thousands and thousands of comments. At this point, tens of thousands of comments. So you guys can really get a chance to be informed there and learn something you didn't know previously, which I think is incredible, right? Definitely cool. If you want to support me another way, come over to my Twitter page. We're slowly getting traction over here. Like I said, I'm kind of getting this fledgling page going. It's at Just Informed Talk. There's some cool stuff on here that I post in my basic feed and what I go through about. I meme people and I respond. You guys can come check it out. It's really cool. But another way you can contribute, which is really important and it helps this channel immensely, please come here to Patreon. It's Patreon, patreon.com/justinformedtalk, or you can come to patreon.com and search Just Informed Talk. And when you get here, you just have to click the red button to become a patron. Then you can contribute anything from $1 to infinity. I'm not going to tell you how much to contribute, but I want to thank each and every one of my patrons who have made it here so far. You can come check out my rewards and my goal. A cool reward I'm going to keep stressing here for anybody who wants to get involved is this right here. So for those of you who can't see, we have these cool official limited edition Just Informed Talk t-shirts. And you'll see on one side it will say Trump Just Informed Talk, and the other side it will say Is Trump QAnon? And all you got to do is give $50. Trust me, I'm not making much off that when you get the t-shirts made and have them shipped out and everything. But it's going to be a limited run where I'm only going to put out 10 of these. I'll consider maybe doing more. If I do more, it'll probably be a different t-shirt. But if you want to go ahead and get the first edition Just Informed Talk official t-shirt, which is a limited edition, and there's only going to be 10 of these that go out, go ahead and come here to patreon.com/justinformedtalk, and you can go ahead and contribute that amount, and I will send you the t-shirt, and it'll be a very cool thing to wear that'll really start conversations and get the conversation going with you and your friends when it comes to what's going on out there. Now, that's going to be it for tonight. Before I end, I'd like to take a minute and talk about something that's really important. I think that will help us all understand things more clearly. Now, I want to take a second here and talk about patience and understanding, because I don't think I exhibited it perfectly through this episode. I got frustrated and I got upset at the fact that either my computer's lagging or there's something even more crazy going on, but I'm not even going to speculate on that. Suffice it to say that we have a tough time in this world being patient. And the one thing that we don't recognize usually is that God's love is eternal and it lasts forever. And patience is a virtue that we only gain through wisdom and time. So I want you all to pray for me, pray for this channel as I pray for you guys all the time. And let's all try to be more patient and understanding with one another, and patient and understanding in the way that we deal with these problems that we come across on a daily basis. And definitely more understanding when it comes to seeing other people's viewpoints and trying to have an open dialogue and a healthy discourse as opposed to taking it as a threat or a trauma. I think, unfortunately, because of the way that this episode went at the end there, it really threw off my train of thought. But, you know, I just look to God to kind of guide me, and I pray and I just hope that He will guide me into the future and keep this channel safe and going so I can spread His word and spread the truth far and wide. And I hope you guys are in it with me to help me do that. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight. So I want to say thank you all for watching. This has been a great episode. If you haven't yet, make sure you come here, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. So thankful and grateful to each and every one of my subscribers who have made it here so far. And that's going to be it. So once again, thank you. I'm Craig. This is Just Informed Talk. Godspeed and God bless, Patriots.